Here.
Well, folks,
This is the last fucking political video I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna move on. Also, Frank Ocean pulled out a Coachella weekend too.
MrBeast is the top YouTuber on planet Earth. His videos are really, really watchable, beautifully produced, really entertaining. But now he's got a major problem.
What do you mean? What? I mean, Ben Shapiro is such a fucking algo demon. He has to glaze up MrBeast.
Many people who are sort of outside the YouTube sphere have no idea who MrBeast is. But MrBeast is the single most popular YouTuber on YouTube, meaning he has tens of millions of followers. A huge number of people follow his videos. Even if you're not sort of a routine YouTuber, you've probably seen some of his videos. He very famously, a couple of years ago, for example, did a remake of Squid Game in which he actually hired a bunch of people or offered a bunch of people to take part in Squid Game. They were then shot with paintball guns. His videos are incredibly well done. They've been viewed hundreds of millions of times each. We're talking about billions and billions of views for MrBeast. He's a very young guy. He's like 24, 25 years old. His actual name is Jimmy Donaldson. And the entire sort of drive of his show is that he does these incredibly creative videos, very clickable videos. And very often he does things for charity in his videos as well. We've talked about him on the show before, helping to donate money so that people who are going blind can actually have surgery, or making sure that people in Africa have shoes. There's some really cool stuff on his YouTube channel. The entire sort of vibe of his show is that he and some of his friends, sort of the bros, they're constantly going and they are doing things together. It's him and his team of friends. Well, now MrBeast has a problem. MrBeast's problem is that one of his co-stars, his longtime friend Chris Tyson, has decided that he is now a woman. Now, normally, this isn't really a problem, right? You got a friend, your friend decides that they're a woman.
Wait, what? No, it's never a problem. It's only a problem to you and other freaks like you, Ben. Like, I don't even understand. You know his ass has to fucking glaze up MrBeast, though, because, again, he's an algorithm demon. So he is going to present this as though it's not him being transphobic, but everyone else is going to be transphobic to Chris. And therefore, MrBeast's business is going to suffer due to this. And that's the reason why MrBeast should fucking turn around and separate forcibly with Chris. That's it. That is literally what he's saying. Okay? This is going to be the Sunny V2 version. Sunny V1, basically. Okay? It could be a nightmare if you ask Sunny V2. Yeah. This is like literally the carbon copy of the Sunny V2 video. But of course, with Ben Shapiro, with Sunny V2, we don't fucking know if he's like, hyper right wing, or at least like you can kind of make inferences. You can make an assumption, and it's probably a correct one. But with Benny V1, we know he's like super anti-trans. That's all he does. You know, all he does is speak about how trans people are fucking awful and bad and blah, 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 blah. So, you know. What? Who's this, dude? This is like a phone number you wrote.
That's a you issue, right? I mean, that's just a question for you in your life. How are you going to handle that? But the problem is for MrBeast that Chris Tyson is actually a member of the cast. Chris Tyson is a person who was part of sort of the bro crew, and now he is saying that he is gender transitioning into becoming a woman. And for people,
no, Chris hasn't even said that. He just said that he's gender nonconforming. He might down the line, and we will respect that. But, Ben, of course, speaking on issues that he does not understand.
Or fans of MrBeast, this sort of changes the dynamic a little bit. Sort of changes the dynamic.
Why?
Right?
Why?
If you are somebody who watches MrBeast regularly and suddenly...
Look, normally, if this wasn't MrBeast, the way that Ben would cover this is literally, MrBeast is a pervert for showing a trans person to children. But because it's MrBeast, he has to fucking toe the line because he knows MrBeast will fucking watch this video. So he can't just outwardly be anti-MrBeast. He can't fucking criticize Jimmy aggressively. He's just trying to politely tell Jimmy to sever ties with his fucking like childhood friend. The cruelty is so fucked up. Okay? It is such a precise way that he is describing this issue. And he's using precise language because he's afraid that, he's afraid of like losing out on a potential ally down the line.
A bunch of bros are interrupted by one guy who is pretending to be or believes that he is a woman, it changes the dynamic in rather stark ways, especially given the fact that Chris Tyson has in the past made sort of transgender jokes about transgenderism. Well,
so is Jimmy. It's very common. It's kind of, I mean, I bet you loved it back then, didn't you? Super common. Everyone in fucking 2016 with, some exceptions, were saying shit like that. Super common. Luckily, a lot of people grew out of it. You in your old ass age decided to lean into it and become worse. You know what I mean? You can't be trans if you made trans jokes? Yeah, that would ironically, that would be more devastating to the trans community than like the anti-HRT bills that they're passing, because probably like 98% of trans people have made trans jokes and still continue to make trans jokes now. So that would be the rate of trans people drops to 0 immediately. So pulling up the trans jokes Chris made is literally the least bad thing he tweeted back then. Also, it's clearly internalized transphobia. Yeah, exactly. None of my gay friends ever said the F slur before they came out or continue to do so regularly. Austin, even though he won't say it on camera because he is homophobic. I think it's a homophobic act that Austin refuses to say the F word on camera. Anyway, I digress. That's an irrelevant point.
A little while ago, a few months ago, he decided that he was going to begin hormone replacement therapy, and he started looking significantly less masculine on camera and significantly more feminine on camera. Now, listen, if you were running a TV show, which is essentially what MrBeast is doing, if you're running a piece of entertainment, then typically what you do is you cast for roles, right? Now, on YouTube,
bro, this is a human, okay? This is a human being.
Because it's all about authenticity. Very often they're just sort of your friends. But the reality is the dynamic created is a dynamic that is for the cameras. And so typically speaking, let's say that you were running a show, other than the Umbrella Academy, and one of your stars decided they were a member of the opposite sex. What would you do? Well, you would probably just say, well, you don't get to be in the show anymore because the dynamic of the show has changed. And
yeah, except like these are friends who are just like shooting YouTube videos together. So like you become this like weird parasocial psycho. Dude, how old is Ben Shapiro, bro? Come on now. Ben Shapiro age. Motherfucker is 39 years old, bro. MrBeast. My favorite television show is MrBeast. And now there's someone who is trans. They should stop being friends with the trans person.
That has nothing to do with bigotry. That has to do with the dynamic and success of the show. Not only that, if you were...
Bro really is like, yo, you should recast your friend. Hey, man, you should really recast your friend. It's kind of fucked up. Why? It's bothering me. Just like annoys me that your friend is existing as a trans person on camera. Have you thought about recasting your friend? Okay, thanks.
We're actually friends with somebody. If one of my close friends were on camera with me and they decided to make a radical life shift, they wouldn't expect me to continue to put the success of my career on hold or at risk because they were...
It shouldn't be that way. Why would the success of his career change because there's a trans person on screen? I know why. Because Ben Shapiro is transphobic. That's it. That's why it's funny. Because so many motherfuckers were like, it's actually good. There's two sides of the transphobia coin, right? There's the Ben Shapiro side who's like, oh, actually, it's going to ruin your business, I promise. And then the other side is the real schizos who was like, it was supposed to either be him, Jimmy, or Chris. One of the two had to be trans. The die is cast. Our Illuminati overlords decided one of them had to be trans, so Chris took a dive on the trans side. This is the only way they could continue. Like, I've seen those tweets. Like, they're insane.
We're making a personal life decision. In other words, it's not my job to make room for you on this particular show because you've decided to make a life decision that now cuts directly against the entire dynamic of the show. Now, I mentioned the Umbrella Academy a moment ago on Netflix. They've run into serious trouble because the Umbrella Academy started off with Ellen Page, a woman, playing a girl on the show, like a straight woman on the show. And then Ellen Page decided that she was a lesbian, and so they actually added a lesbian storyline in the middle of Umbrella Academy. And then Ellen Page decided that she was Elliot Page, a man. And so then they turned the entire character into a male. And that just doesn't work. I mean, it's ridiculous and it's silly. But that's exactly what is sort of now expected in the entertainment.
Yeah, have you noticed how that's different? Because it's like a fictional show, and even then it like still was fine. You know what I mean? Like even in that fictional show, which is like, you know, which is not super beholden to, but oftentimes could be beholden to source material. Whereas like you're comparing, here's what you're doing, Ben. You're comparing a fictional show off of a comic book rendition on Netflix, a live action rendition that still was fine. You know, it didn't fucking, you know, it didn't change the dynamic all that aggressively. It was otherwise mediocre regardless before, Elliot Page's gender confirmation. But like, notice how you are talking about a show, a live action show, a fiction, a work of fiction, versus like a real human being appearing alongside his friend. And your expectation is that like the dynamic should be different now because like, you know, they are now gender non-confirming. Notice how weird that is? It's only not weird to you because you're a fucking psychotic freakazoid who clearly has never had a friend in general, and certainly not one that was, I guess, maybe gender non-confirming or anything like that, or came out as gay. You know what I mean? It's just very odd to look at something like this and be like, yeah, you should literally not. Why are people saying conforming? What did I say? Why are people hyper focusing on the way I'm saying words? Okay. Shut up, chat. You're being fucking weird. Okay. You know what I mean. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. I don't even want to fucking cover the story. I'm so fucking tired of covering the story over and over again. And like it chat just hyper focusing on the dumbest shit. Okay. Y'all are so fucking annoying.
Entertainment world is that everyone who casts these shows, they have to treat people who completely change their entire identity as completely unfireable, like absolutely unfireable. So all this began again when Chris Tyson started to change his appearance on the show to appear more feminine, and then started tweeting out publicly about the benefits and wonders of gender affirming healthcare. So Chris Tyson tweeted out, and again, he's changed his entire Twitter profile. So now he has sort of an illustration of himself looking like a woman, although he doesn't look anything like that in real life. He looks like a dude who's wearing some makeup and has some long hair. He says, informed consent, HRT, that'd be hormone replacement therapy, saved me and many others' lives. The hurdles GNC people, gender non-conforming people, have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming healthcare.
It's really funny because like Chris goes by any and all pronouns, so like Ben is trying to misgender him and like failing to do so. It's like a bit of an ultimate own, you know what I mean? Like they all work at the moment, you know what I mean?
In a first world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies. And people started pointing out, well, Chris, you know, when you make life decisions, it actually has impact on other people. See, this is the magnificent narcissism of modern society.
Please tell us more about the magnificent narcissism of modern society as you cut 13 minutes of vitriolic propaganda about a whole-ass, grown-ass adult and his own whole-ass, grown-ass personal decisions and how that hurts your feelings and how that may or may not actually impact the bottom line of another whole-ass, grown-ass adult who has chosen to stand by him. Go ahead. No, Ben, please. please, I really want to know how you feel about like two people in fucking North Carolina who've known each other for many, many years, and how you feel about their relationship now that one has come out as trans. Please tell me how fucking narcissistic it is that Chris is, you know, living their best fucking life. Yeah, Chris is the narcissist here. You're right.
Is that
the worst part about this is that he just plagiarized, like absolutely fucking plagiarized the Sunny V2 video. I'd be so pissed if I was Sunny V2. I'd be like, God damn, I made this fucking video and this fucking guy, he stole it word for word.
Decide that the personal life decisions that make us feel better in the cockles of our heart, these are the things that really matter in life, not our relationships with other people, not, in Chris Tyson's case, the relationship that he has with his wife and his kid. He has a wife and he has a kid. Let me just express something to you right now. If you decide that your feelings of comfort and gender identity are more important than your relationship with your wife and your child, you are being selfish. This is true for everyone. If you're a man and you decide that you're going to cheat on your wife because, listen, it makes you feel better about yourself. You're hitting your 40s and now...
Wait, what? Why are you just like bringing up a... Yeah. Yeah, if you're an adult and you decide to like murder someone, yeah, that would be pretty fucked up as well. Are we just like talking about things that are fucked up and then trying to like subtly compare them to something that's not fucked up? That's so weird. All right, what about like coming to terms with being trans is like damaging? Especially if they're still in the lives of their partner and also their child. Very weird.
Now it's time for that midlife crisis and you decide to go get a younger model and take that for a ride. Well, that is you being a bad person. That is you being a narcissist. That is you ignoring the actual priorities of your own life. Life is about what are you...
Yeah. Exactly. Totally unrelated to this issue, though. Yeah. Hypothetically, what if Chris decided to murder people? What then? Wouldn't that be damaging to the MrBeast franchise? MrBeast should not stand by someone who has murdered people. It's like, but he didn't do that. He didn't do adultery. He's just coming to terms with his gender expression. It's very weird that you compared that. Do you think it's the same as adultery? Do you think it's the same as like leaving your child behind? Why are you saying that? You have no evidence that Chris is doing that. That's very weird.
You're going to sacrifice on behalf of the people who mean the most to you. It is not about you feeling the best you can feel on the interior of you, especially because that's a really subjective feeling, and it turns out it's incredibly transitory. Not only is it transitory, when you're telling lies to yourself, it's incredibly damaging. When you're telling yourself a lie that you're a member of the opposite sex, and meanwhile, completely destroying, presumably, your relationship with your wife, and also completely confusing your own child, that actually is a bad thing to do. This should not be a controversial statement because, again, this is true for everyone.
Dog, you confuse your child. Fuck you mean? In infinitely more damaging ways than Chris. Trans people exist. Whether Chris is trans or not trans, it doesn't matter. Trans people still exist. You know what I mean? Every child is eventually going to learn about the existence of trans people. I know that sounds like I'm fucking Sephiroth making a threat, but it's a promise. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you can be Ben Shapiro and try to, basically bake in that hatred of trans people to your child at an early age so they just like grow up and become another weirdo like Ben Shapiro. Why is bro acting like he's a friend of the family? They don't know you, little bro. I know.
Gay, straight, gender nonconform, whatever you are, your top priority is providing for your child a level of stability and understandability to the world. And to your spouse, your highest commitment is to being the best husband or the best wife to your spouse that you can be. This does not involve you seeking yourself. You seeking yourself is a 1960s, 1970s garbage construct in which your own personal priority...
It's so weird, like... Ben's argument here is that, like, again, is the same as like Sunny V2. It's just that, like, you should hide it. Like, don't be true to yourself. Don't live with the mental clarity and happiness. Just hide it. And what? Be like Steven Crowder? He doesn't seem too happy with his life. He just pulled it. If you're gay, you have to stay with your wife. Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, I think as an in the closet gay man, you should still have obligations to your child, for sure. 100%. But that doesn't fucking mean that, like, you literally have to present as a straight person. It's so stupid. Which, from what I understand, like, Chris is absolutely still very much not throwing away his parental responsibilities.
Take priority. Okay, in any case, some people pointed out that.
Yes, I said as a closeted gay man, and everyone said, oh my God, you're a closeted gay man? Yeah, dude, I fucked your dad, okay? I fucked your mom, and then I fucked your dad. Shut the fuck up. I can't have a serious goddamn conversation about these fucking issues without every 12-year-old in my fucking chat being like, lol, you said as a gay man. Like, yes, dude, it's a term of expression. That doesn't mean I'm the fucking in the closet gay man. Oh my fucking Lord. Fuck. Literally lizard brain I can't even talk. Lizard brain dipshits in the chat today.
You know, this changes the dynamic of MrBeast's show. That this actually is a problem for MrBeast's show. So MrBeast was now caught between a rock and a hard place. Because what our woke society has now created is a rock and a hard place, not for Chris Tyson, whose choice this was in the first place. You know, whatever he chooses to do with his own family, he is free to do, although I am also free to morally criticize that thing. Because again, anybody who places their own priorities above those of their family is doing the wrong thing. We'll get to that momentarily. First, as you may have noticed, the economy is getting worse. This dude, Chris Tyson, who believes man, who pretends that he's a woman. By the way, this actually has real ramifications for the way that the show feels, the way the show looks. And
Bro, the amount of time that he cut talking about MrBeast, like MrBeast's YouTube page, is fucking insane. You should go to jail as a 39-year-old man. I'm not even kidding. Like, straight up, that's insane. There's something wrong with this motherfucker. Check him PC, bro. I made the mistake of looking at the like and dislike ratio and comments. Yeah, of course. Like, notice how this person says, the untypical German says, man leaves his wife and child. What a scumbag. Man leaves his wife and child to dress in women's clothes. What a hero. Notice how, like, the part that's bad here is leaving the wife and child. And that is something that objectively did not happen. But in order to make this look bad, and of course say like, oh, dressing women's clothes, not as like, being gender non-conforming or anything, they have to add the bad thing. You have to do that when you recognize the other thing objectively isn't bad. The other thing objectively hurts no one. Okay? That's why you have to add the other thing. Wow, man murders someone, scumbag. Man murders someone and then becomes trans, hero. It's like, yeah, no, it's the murder part that's fucked up, man. I don't know if you realize that.
There's a recent video from MrBeast in which this dude, Chris Tyson, who believes that he is a woman, they're interacting and making all the interactions that used to be kind of normal are now extremely, extremely awkward. Okay, but MrBeast is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because if he says to Chris, listen, Chris, you're screwing up the dynamic of the show, right? We didn't bargain for this. You want to make your personal life decisions. You want to take some time. You want to figure out what you're all about. That's fine. But you don't get to enact your personal dramas on the set of my billion-dollar show. You don't really get to do that. And if you do that, I got to say that is not kind to me as a friend. He's not allowed to do that. Our society says that he must actually sacrifice his business for the sake of his supposed friend who's willing to put him in this position in the first place. Because if he doesn't put this guy on the air and destroy the dynamic of a show, or at least harm the dynamic of a show, then that means that he's a transphobe. But if he leaves the guy on the air, it completely messes up the dynamic of the show, and fewer people are going to watch it. And you can see that in the number of dislikes that have been racking up on MrBeast's YouTube page. So MrBeast had to make the choice, and so the choice that he chose is, of course, the wokest choice. He tweeted out, yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my bleeping friend, and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. Okay, that's MrBeast's choice, but you also have a choice, which is whether you actually wish to watch MrBeast videos, right? Or whether you want your kids to watch it. MrBeast stuff is very safe for kids, typically speaking. It's kind of silly stuff like, what is the difference between a $1 flight versus a $100 flight versus a $10,000 flight, right? It's that kind of stuff. Well, I do not feel as though my kids should be exposed to a man who believes that he is a woman on the YouTubes until they're of age to understand exactly what is going on. A lot of other parents are going to have that same exact.
Yeah. He's like, MrBeast, here's why you're in big trouble. Because I'm going to boycott you. That's what he's saying. There it is. After 11 minutes and like a fucking 4-minute ad break in between, which is 1 minute longer than the top of the hour ad break I serve you at the top of every hour, which is an avoidable one, by the way. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. Or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky. That's right. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Patch Office, thank you for the 5 gifted. Cap Calloway, thank you for the 5 gifted, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Anyway, after an 11-minute video, he finally arrives at the main point of contention. He doesn't like that there is a trans person in the MrBeast universe. He does not care that they're friends. He does not care that this is a person who is now more comfortable and more, healthy. Cool Albanian, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Tamana, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Shut up, Axel, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah. He's like, MrBeast, you're in big trouble. Why? Because I, Ben Shapiro, will initiate a boycott. I will stop my children from watching, and I will tell other people to also subtly not fucking watch. That's it.
Question. And that's not the fault of MrBeast. That's the fault of Chris Tyson. And him putting his friend in that position is, on a personal level, somewhat inexcusable.
It's really fucked up that Chris Tyson came out as trans. It's really fucked up. Great.
Excusable. But again, this is all about our society basically deciding that personal.
He still won't all the way shit on MrBeast? Yes, because he's like, oh, MrBeast, come on. You're a capitalist. You love your business. Your bottom line will be affected by this. Drop your friend. Be a fucking demon. That's it. That's all he's doing. He's doing that because he thinks there's still a chance. Okay? He thinks there's still a chance that, Jimmy will be like, yeah, Chris, maybe you shouldn't be on my videos any longer. Maybe we shouldn't be friends any longer, that sort of thing. You know?
Authenticity comes at the cost of everyone else around you. Everyone else around you must be made to mirror your priorities. It's the only thing that matters. What makes Chris Tyson feel good is the only thing that matters in all of this.
Being a trans ally will almost certainly be worse for MrBeast's worldwide viewership than folding to the woke would. No, that's not even remotely true. It doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. Shut the fuck up. Even being racist doesn't matter unless you get fucking banned, okay? Just make content. That's it. I say this as a content creator, okay? Shut the fuck up. Just keep making the content. No one gives a shit. You want to know why no one gives a shit? Chris was out as bisexual before this, And his view counts didn't fucking diminish. Chris was also dressing in more gender non-confirming ways, and it's not like the view counts dipped. So clearly, demonstrably, it doesn't fucking matter. These people are desperately trying to make it seem like it matters. Okay? There is no like get woke, go broke type shit. It's not real. It literally is so not real that none of these companies that have gone woke have gone broke. Like it has not happened. No matter how much they try to game the system to make it seem like it has. I noticed that hardline right-wingers either disregard or dislike the concept of being oneself or being aligned with oneself. If somebody they know changes, it's a problem, and they don't try to learn why the person might outwardly change. They want people to be correct. Yes. I think JonTron is a really good example of the fact that you don't cancel YouTubers for political shit. Yeah, it's just like, unless you literally go down this pipeline and break your brain and personally dedicate your whole life to making like right-wing commentary or whatever, and even then you can't like actually perform at the same level you did before you were political, openly political, it doesn't matter. And I don't think MrBeast is going to be doing fucking, HRT introduction videos anytime soon. So as long as MrBeast keeps making the same fucking videos that he's doing, and Chris is involved in the videos in the same way that they were involved in prior, okay, it doesn't matter. Nothing is going to change. People are still going to watch him. He is an algo demon, okay? He knows what's good. People vastly overestimate overt and violent transphobia levels in the broader population. Most people are maybe lightly transphobic, but if they see a trans person and trans accepting friends of that person, they'll say whatever floats their boat, etc. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, think about how many fucking times I've been canceled by quote unquote my own fans, apparently. If you ask the media, my fans are the ones who got mad that I bought a house. All this other shit. Okay? Zero? What do you mean? I get fucking canceled on a weekly fucking basis. It doesn't matter. If you keep your output the same, it literally doesn't matter. This cancel culture shit is not real unless you've done something truly heinous and truly fucked up, okay? Oh. That's it.
Which is why presumably Chris Tyson tweeted about his own kid. He tweeted, quote, I won't let people talk about how I, quote, abandoned my child. He's the only priority in my life. I have his love and support, and that is all that I need. I'm doing this for him. If that confuses you, educate yourself. If that makes you mad, leave. Simple. You're not doing this for him. You're not. That's a lie. This is like the...
See, this is why. By the way, I told Chris not to fucking respond to any of this shit, and that you should stop just tweeting about this stuff in general. Just live your life. Tune Twitter out. This is the reason. Because there is no correcting the record in this circumstance, okay? There is no correcting the record. These people do not care. They will just use it as content and will weaponize it against you no matter what, okay? I regularly, try to do that every now and then. I cave. I'm weak. Can't stop myself. I do it all the fucking time. It doesn't matter. No one sees that and goes, oh, wow, well, maybe Chris is in the lives of his children. I was wrong. No, they're like, you're trans. We hate you. Fuck you. You're lying. You're lying about your gender and you're lying about being in your child's life. And even if you're saying you're in your child's life, it doesn't fucking matter because we're going to act like that's not the case. The more you respond, the more content you give them. The worst thing you can do for your haters, the absolute worst thing you can do for your haters is not respond to them, no matter how much they try to fucking cut content. Okay? That's it. Don't feed the trolls. Because the best thing you can do is respond. Even if it's like a really good slam dunk, there's still going to be some people that look to that and go, ooh, there's movement here. Ooh, I can get a rise out of this person. Ooh, I could potentially get this person to respond to me. I could maybe even gain in. I could maybe even get in on the fucking anti-trans hate here and maybe make a fucking little bit of cash for myself. Like you did for Glenn Greenwald. I mean, there's a difference between me responding to Glenn Greenwald, who already has a prominent audience, a sizable audience, who's like kind of chirping and crying about the same exact bullshit that everyone's cried about. I don't really care if I give Glenn Greenwald clout, but you should care about cutting propaganda for Ben Shapiro. Does that make sense? Glenn also has a much larger audience, depending on what you're looking at. There are plenty of fucking instances where I don't actually end up giving clout to many, many people. Most of them have marginal audiences. They're fucking weird. They're crazy. They're annoying. They never stop. But ultimately, it dies down. It doesn't matter. Responding is always worse.
The parents who say, not because they're in an abusive marriage or something, they say, you know what? I'm leaving because I have to leave my wife and I have to leave my child because after all, if I stayed, just the dynamic, I'm really leaving for this younger model. I'm doing it for my child. Don't you understand? The happiest version of me is the one that my child ought to say. No, that is not how any of this works.
That is exactly how this works, you fucking asshole. You don't know anything about their lives. You don't know anything about Chris. You don't know anything about his relationship with his child. You don't know anything. You're just literally parasocially crying. Okay? That's it.
Again, as a father of 3, soon to be 4, gotta tell you, you're constantly sacrificing your personal authenticity and happiness on behalf of your children. It's just a thing you do all the time. But let's be real. What we are now doing is we are reverse engineering how parenting, how relationships are supposed to be done. Everyone is out there to validate you. You're not out there to validate anyone else, right? It's not your job to create relationships with other people with give and take. It is their job to mirror you. It is the perfect tale of narcissists. We are now stuck looking in the mirror at ourselves constantly. And if we don't...
Ben having a grin and bear it approach to his family makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I also don't think he has to. Like, that's the other thing. He is a traditionalist, right? So he can kind of get away with whatever the fuck he's doing. Unless he's like talking about some deep-seated secret here that he is suppressing aggressively. You know what I mean? Seems like that might be the case. I'm seeing a lot. But it's fucking weird. Weird that he's like dying on this hill because Chris is not giving up anything. That's the thing. Like, it's the same person, you know what I mean? But healthier and has more mental clarity, you know what I mean? It's not like he's like, oh man, I'm fucking flying to a different country and I'm just going to be there forever. I'm going to leave my child behind. It's so weird. I think Ludwig said it best. Like, dude, imagine having MrBeast as your fucking uncle and Chris from MrBeast as your dad, mom, parental unit. You know what I mean? That's fire. That kid's life is awesome. No matter what. It's true. It's fucking sick. This story is not even something Ben feels strongly about. He's just mimicking what others are saying like a fucking fraud. No, I think Ben does feel strongly about this, but if it wasn't MrBeast, who he thinks he can approach and he can actually like, reach out to, he would be way more aggressive. He'd be like, MrBeast is degenerate. MrBeast is like actually perverting children. He should immediately take his friend off of the airwaves. He basically said that here, but he can't say that because MrBeast is like, the algorithm demon, Mr. YouTube basically. So Ben can't really be on bad terms. He can't openly shit on MrBeast. Yeah, the tone here and how these guys talked about Bud Light is totally different. We know how he talks about when a brand even has like a one-off, one-time ad campaign with like a trans person versus with MrBeast.
Don't like what we see, then we insist that we get a new mirror and that everyone around us mirror back to us what it is that we are. Alrighty. The rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be getting into censorship, more censorship of new novels, plus the ridiculous hit on Clarence Thomas. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro. Check out for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.
Nice. What an awful video.